Hi, sir. My name is Arvind, and my 16 fellow friends are going to explain briefly what is USAC really is. The Occupational Safety and Health Regulation 2000, which is USAC Regulation 2000, is the sixth set of regulation made under the OSHA, which is OSHA 1994. And the purpose of this USAC is to provide a legal framework for the employer to control the chemical hazardous to health.
Okay, for duties, there are 10 duties of the employer stipulated in the regulation. The five main duties is first, identifying chemical hazards to health, two, complying with the permissible exposure limit, three, carrying out chemical health risk assessment, four, taking action to control hazardous exposure, five, labeling and relabeling chemical hazards to health.
Hello, my name is Shafir Iqmal. Next about application. This regulation shall apply to all places of work which are within the jurisdiction of the OSHA 1994, where chemical hazardous to health are used as a chemical that are defined as radioactive material in the Atomic Energy Legislation Act 1984 for staff hazardous to health solely by the virtue of their explosive or flammable properties or low temperature and a high pressure and pharmaceutical.
Hi, sir, I'm Kevin Das, and we'll be talking about chemicals hazardous to health. So, they are considered to be hazardous if they're listed in the schedules, Schedule 1, 2, and 3. Schedule 1 is permissible exposure limits. Schedule 2 is chemical that require medical surveillance, and Schedule 3 is information pesticide. Other than that, if there's a one or more classification under health hazard, then it's also considered as hazardous chemical. And if it's also listed in the first schedule of environmental quality, then it's also considered to be chemical that is hazardous because it cannot be stored or discarded.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. So I am Muhammad Ulazim Tarif. I would like to explain about identification of chemical hazards to help in users. So all chemical used in work area need to be identified and be recorded in a register. This register need to be accessible to the officer of the department in the occupation safety and health outdoors. So the content of register is list of safe chemical use, safety data sheet, quantity of uses or produced for each chemicals, chemical process and work area. Also, name and address of supplier for each chemical. So just that for me, I will pass the presenting to the next presenter. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about permissible exposure limit. We need to ensure that no person is exposed to chemical hazard during their work time, which is need to by ensuring such as shielding limit at any time, and then the 8-hour time weighted average airborne concentration.
Or represent the assessment of risk of risk to health. Assessment of risk to health should be carried out by a registered assessor before doing any work involving chemical hazards to health. The assessment shall contain the following information. First, the potential risk to employee as a result of exposure to chemical hazardous to health. Second, the method of procedure adopted in the use of chemical hazardous to health. Third, the nature of hazard to health. Fourth, the degree of exposure to such chemical.
Hello, Assalamualaikum and very good evening to our lecturer, SOP. My name is Muhammad Adam bin Muhammad Jamben, number metric 2020600296. Today I would like to continue about presentation about occupational safety and health, OSH. So my subtopic is action to control exposure. So within 1 month of receiving the assessment report from the assessor, the employer shall take action control excess of exposure. As recommended by the assessor, this may include change in the work process, practice, procedures, and plan or engineering control equipment. So it will reduce the exposure level to the lowest practicable level. So that's all.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. My name Muhammad Putri bin Muhammad Shukri. The other duties of the USECHH is labeling and relabeling. Employee must ensure that all chemical supply or purchase and all, all hazardous waste container are properly labeled. The hazardous waste container must contain the word hazardous waste. In addition, they need the following hazardous waste label and marking, which is general information that have name, address, code, accumulation state date, DOT shipping name, and applicable waste code. There is two examples of the label. That's all for me. Thank you.
Information, instruction and training. The employer shall provide information, instruction and training to all employees who may be exposed or are likely to be exposed to chemical hazardous to health. From the information, instruction and training given, The employee should be able to know the risk to health created by such exposure and the precaution that should be taken.
So the next one is monitoring of exposure at the place of work. The employer should ensure monitoring of employees' exposure to chemicals hazardous to health is conducted by a registered technician. When the first is a health risk assessment, then indicated that monitoring is required, or the second one is monitoring is necessary to ensure the maintenance of adequate control from exposure.
Okay, now I will present about the health survey. So I will explain it. The employer shall carry out a health surveillance program when the result of the assessment indicated that health surveillance is necessary for the protection of employees exposed or likely to be exposed to chemical hazards to health. So now I will pass to the next presenter.
For removal due to medical reasons, any work involving potentially harmful chemicals for the employee's health is prohibited by the employer, who must also remove the employee from the situation. First point, the employee has a medical condition that has been identified and puts him at a higher risk of health impairment from exposure to chemicals that are harmful to health. The second point is the employee becomes pregnant, and lastly, the employee is breastfeeding a newborn child.
Thank you to my friend for the amazing explanation. My name is Muhammad Eko Hakim bin Nizam. Under the USEC Regulation 2000, they also mentioned that warning sign. What it means that when a chemical hazardous to health is used in any manner that is affecting the health of any person who may be in the area or likely, the employer shall ensure warning signs are posted at conspicuous location at every entrance of the area to warn the person entering the area. Second, the employer shall ensure other relevant information are given to persons who may be or likely to be at the risk of being affected by the chemical hazardous to health, such as the risk, symptom, and emergency number to call when got sick. I think that's all for me. I pass to the next person.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning. I am standing here is want to talk about use and standard exposure to make two chemical hazardous to health, or we can call them a USAC. My topic is about penalty. Penalty is any person who contravenes and any provision of this regulation shall be guilty of an offence and upon conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 10,000 or imprisonment of maximum 1 year. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ahmad Akil Shazwan Birozali, and I gonna talk about conclusion. In conclusion, the USAC regulation are very important because they were created to protect the health of workers and others from chemicals hazardous. If the USAC regulation is not made, the death rate for workers who use and handle chemical will increase as a result of exposure to chemical hazardous without control.